CO2 emissions from 1900 to 2019. We're starting off in the early part of the century. It's mainly the US, UK, and Germany. Germany's probably going to slim down a bit. Oh no, they didn't slim down as much as I thought. Russia's slowly building up. It's after World War II, and it's actually still hasn't been as much of a change as I thought. China starts to slowly progress. Oh yeah, China's going to pass everybody up. Japan doing something similar. Still the 80s. Russia is slowly collapsing. The Soviet Union's gone. Now they're just Russia. Oh, here they go. Wow, they are ballooning up. They literally bypassed everyone. This hasn't even been seen in history. It all began like the early 2000s when they started going, that seems bad. The most despised US state, according to Reddit. This was measured by a number of mentions in almost 30,000 comments. I guess someone asked which state people liked the least, and these are the results. Alaska got way more votes than I expected. Almost 500 people said they didn't like the northernmost state. I feel like most Americans just forget it even exists. I now just realized that was Alabama, not Alaska. Should have known those are the 2 letters for my birth state. I'm stupid. California, of course, is pretty high up there with over 1,000 mentions. Still not as high as Florida, though. Florida getting a lot closer to that 1,500 number. Florida was actually the second most mentioned state. People really don't like this one. Kansas is randomly high up there. Ohio and Texas also get honorable mentions. Not even one person mentioned Guam. Guam is just the worst thing in general in the US. There's your one vote, because I want to support you guys. The top was actually Mississippi. Why would Mississippi be number 1? I know Mississippi struggles in a lot of things. I feel like whenever you see those research maps that show like how good each US state is doing, Mississippi's always towards the bottom, like the very bottom. But if this state is struggling, why would people also dislike it the most? Maybe people dislike it, which is the reason why it is struggling. I feel like if anything, we need to be supporting Mississippi, not hating on it. Countries that are obligated to defend the United States and vice versa. So in black, we have the United States, and of course, our northern neighbor must help us out, probably because of NATO. And actually, all of these European countries must help us out because of NATO. Maybe there's some other things involved there, but we kind of already knew that, a big alliance. But then we also have this agreement with a lot of Central America and South America. We must defend the Western Hemisphere. I'm surprised that like Mexico isn't involved in this. Kind of spooky that we don't have something that like we wouldn't defend Mexico and they wouldn't defend us. That's like a neighbor. I don't know. It's just kind of uncomfortable to think about. Now, it's not too much in the East, but unsurprisingly, there is Japan and South Korea. Didn't know we had a deal up with Thailand. We used to own the Philippines, so I get that. And of course, Australia and Oceania, they're on our side. And a couple of random islands. Nobody in Africa, though? Not even like Liberia? Like, aren't we responsible for Liberia, kind of? I guess every one of these alliances you get up makes things a bit scarier. That's just more people you might have to defend. You might get pulled into a war. Japan's driving stickers. Apparently they have stickers on their car like we do. The Waka Baka mark. I'm pretty sure I did not pronounce that correct, but it sounds cool. You have to use this sticker if you have less than 1 year of driver's license. Oh, these are not just like stickers like be careful, my baby's on board, don't crash into me. We're so lame. This sticker is used if you are over the age of 75. That would be nice. That way I know who I need to cut off immediately. Spoken like a true Californian right there. A Shintai mark is used if you are handicapped. And this final one, which is a butterfly, you have to use this sticker if you are hearing impaired. Why would they give them the butterfly then? I just want to know why that was the icon chosen for this. I guess I should be asking that about all of these though. It is kind of cool that other countries use car stickers for like useful reasons. The average start time for public high schools in every US state. Let's just start off with the earliest, which is Louisiana. High schoolers in this US state start at 7:30 a.m. I don't know why I'm making that such a big deal. When I was in high school, I had a 0 period, so I had to go to school at like 6:30, which is probably why I acted like a zombie the whole time. I wasn't getting any sleep. I like the regional patterns that we can see. So Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire, they start at 7:36, only 6 minutes later, not a big difference. I wonder why they all decided, hey, yeah, let's high schoolers up right here. The latest start times come from DC, South Carolina, and Alaska. They start at 8:41. Now that seems really late. The problem with those start times too is that they probably don't get out till like 3 or 4. I feel like there's a lot of negatives and positives to both sides. I don't even know which one I'd prefer. Actually, no, I do have the best situation. Just stop going to school. That's right. I'm advocating you right now. Just drop out. Like, is there an agency that can get me in trouble like the IRS, but for schools? If there is, I'm just kidding. The Dunning-Kruger Effect. We have 2 lines, confidence and knowledge in the field. Oftentimes when we are children, we don't know everything. We haven't heard of many things, and then all of a sudden you hear about the topic and you want to learn all about it. You think you know everything. Then as you continue to dive deeper and deeper, there's more to this than I thought. I'm never going to understand this. It's starting to make a little sense, and then there's a rapid incline to, trust me, it's complicated. If you just give that answer for everything, you're gonna make it through life just great. You're gonna do great on your SATs just by picking it's complicated in every single multiple choice. What's 2 plus 2? It's complicated. Now, the sea levels are unlikely to rise 100 meters, but if they did, if an asteroid just came bearing 100 100,000 million gallons of extra water. This is what Europe would look like. We'd have a lake back near Hungary. I just kind of learned about that lake. We'd have no Denmark. That would make a lot of people happy. Or Legoland. We'd have a passage from the Black Sea to the Caspian Sea. Also, the Caspian Sea gets really thick. That would change everything for these countries in Central Asia. And the British Islands becomes literally an archipelago. They probably take the biggest hit, especially because most of England is underwater. How the tables have turned. Ireland, Scotland, and Wales are about to beat your ass. For North America, at least, we kind of just lose Florida and the South, and California gets a lake. South America almost ceased to exist, really, at least the way we know it. Africa's chilling. A lot of Asia's chilling. Oh, and there's no more China. Australia might also not be a desert continent anymore. Again, there's a lot of pros and cons to this stuff. Maybe we should make this happen. Video game map showing where developers came from in Europe. First of all, Rockstar is a British company? How am I just now hearing about that? Of course, in Poland, they have The Witcher. Belarus makes World of Tanks? What? Bannerlord comes from Turkey, getting a lot of education from this. Switzerland made the most epic game of all time, Farming Simulator. I don't even know what's going on in Italy. Spain made Castlevania? I wonder how accurate some of this stuff is. Of course, we've got EU4 from Sweden, and then Iceland made just the most insane game ever, EVE Online. I wonder if there's a correlation between like having nothing better to do and creating like really great video games. Like if there's no reason to go outside, you probably make great video games. The humanity globe, or world population density. Basically, no one lives in the Amazon rainforest, at least not that we've heard of, or the Sahara Desert. Why are no people living in a giant, scary desert? That doesn't make any sense. Not that many people live in Central Asia or like Eastern China. Look at Australia. You don't even really see Australia. That is a drastic difference. There's actually like a lot of people in Hawaii, surprisingly. Nobody's in Canada either. Like Canada barely exists on this map. Certain parts of Africa also struggling. This is kind of interesting. Russia looks also a lot weaker when you see the world like this. I think we forget like Siberia is pretty much barren. But at the same time, yeah, there's a ton of people in the rest of China, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, India. I've seen these maps so many times, but they're always interesting. It always brings things into a new perspective. Number of babies named Adolphus in Lithuania by year. So Adolphus, which sounds awfully like another name, really became popular in this country in like 1907, or at least that's where its origins began. Then in 1922, it really started to skyrocket. Then all of a sudden in 1941 was when it was at an all-time high. This is when the Germans kicked out the Russians from Lithuania. Even the year following, 1942, it was still pretty high. It was 1945, and it was still like better than levels back in the 1920s. What was going on? The name continued to have a legacy even on into the 70s, up until now where it's barely around. I mean, maybe you can get away with it. Adolphus is, you know, I don't know. The extra little AS at the end can make it stand different aside. Still think they're playing with fire though, naming their kid that. Richest countries in Europe starting in the 1960s. We've got the UK, France, and Germany. Germany is still at 27%, even though this is a divided Germany, unless they're just including both sides, probably. Germany's now unified, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna just take over. Italy's doing pretty good too, 12%. Everything's gonna be thrown out of whack in 2008 though. Look at other is all the other countries combined, but they're doing pretty good job over here too. Right now it's Germany at 18%. Then 5% below that is the UK. Like looking back, it really just used to be like a power 3 or maybe a power 4. They were over half. Italy doing amazing back in those days. The wealth has just been spread around, I think. I've seen many maps showing this before, but we have percentage of population in prison, Europe versus America. Europe mostly has less than 0.15% of their population in prison, whereas the US, yeah, we don't really do it like that. Especially Louisiana, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. They really don't do it like that. There is a 1 out of 100 chance that you'll be going to prison if you live in one of these places. Almost 1% of their population is in jail. How does it even get that high? New England is, like, I guess doing the best for this region. And then, you know, who wants to commit a crime when you're living in Hawaii? I'm sure there are crimes, but, like, why would you? You just gotta chill on the beach. I'm surprised people are even committing crimes in Alaska, but Finland is the lowest at only 0.05 of their population is in prison. Don't in Finland, they, like, don't even have fences around their prison? Or is that, like, Sweden or something? Maybe it's Norway. Because maybe that's why. Like, they put people in prison just like they escape. Most popular cars in America as of the year 2020. In California, we really like the Civic, and in a lot of states, they like the Civic. These are cars we're talking about, not trucks, by the way. This is such a generic looking car. I'm pretty sure I've seen this like every time I go outside. But in a lot of the Sunbelt states, it's actually the Nissan Altima, which is also equally generic. I don't even think I'd be able to spot these cars. It looks nice though. I like these northern states with the Impala or the Malibu. Ford Focus randomly here in Kansas. But I like the outliers, Hawaii and Alaska, the Corolla, and the RAV4. The RAV4 doesn't really look like a car, but I could see why you'd need something like this in Alaska. They probably don't even have cars in Alaska because it's just not a smart idea. I wish this included trucks. Maybe it'd be a lot more boring of a map. I'm pretty sure like most of these states would be just an F-150. How much is a billion compared to a million? So 1 million seconds takes about 12 days. 1 billion seconds would take 32 years. Okay, that is a very big difference. That's all you need to tell me. 1 million minutes ago was approximately 2 years ago. 1 billion minutes ago was the year 1114 AD. I only have to go back a billion years ago to worship the Romans. 1 million hours ago was in 1901. 1 billion hours ago was when the first modern humans walked. Okay, I am good. That definitely taught me everything I needed to know, honestly. Don't mess around with the number of billion. The many paths the characters from the Lord of the Rings storyline took during all 3 books. Obviously, in the beginning, it was all the hobbits on the same path. Everything stayed the same until Bilbo's party. Some slight deviations, but they all met in Rivendell for the Fellowship. And of course, we had people die. Boromir died. Boom, path's over. This is why the Two Towers was fun, because there's all this chaos happening all over the place. New characters being introduced, some were being brought back. In the final book, Return of the King happens, and they are all brought back to Minas Tirith at the end. I actually didn't really pay attention to like where each character ended up at the very end. Where did they decide to chill? Why wasn't there like a cheesy ending to the Lord of the Rings movies saying like Legolas ended up returning to Rivendell and had 3 kids, but he would later go on to serving a prison sentence for not paying his taxes since 2003. Oh wow, I really could have used this earlier. The different types of vehicles there are. We've got the micro vehicle and the sedan. I think that's basically what we refer to as cars. There's the hatchback, the coupe, and the station wagon. We don't really have those anymore, huh? Here's all the sexy cars. The muscle car. I now realize there's a little bit of deviation between. I don't know how you can. Some of them are like combinations, right? This is not what every muscle car looks like. We have these special cars, the limousine, the CUV. What is the CUV? Oh, it's a half SUV. That's right. The pickup. You don't even supposed to call it a truck. A minivan, and then the van that my uncle drives around, asking if kids want candy. A camper van? I've never heard it called that. It's an RV. I've always referred to these trucks as diesel trucks. I don't know if I could refer to this as just a truck because people wouldn't understand. A big truck. I don't know if that works either. Supernatural beings and legendary creatures of Hindu mythology. I don't know anything about any mythology, and especially not Hindu mythology, so this is going to be all new to me. I have seen many times the world turtle that holds up the earth. I've seen that from some memes. I'm definitely a world turtle supremacy sort of guy. Flat earth is dumb, but world turtle, that's what it's about. Oh yeah, the avatar creature of Shiva. I've heard the name before. I didn't know it looked that horrifying though. There's also a 2-headed bird of incredible strength. This weird whale thing. We have the king of the bears. This guy looks pretty cool. Why isn't there a movie based off Indian mythology? At least there's not one like that Hollywood has made recently. I could throw this in the Marvel movies. These like 4-headed creatures, which are man-eaters, they're fierce demon-like beings. Okay, maybe that's why they're not in Marvel movies. This is a little horrifying. The being responsible for eclipses, a self-devouring monster created by Shiva's third eye. Holy crap, I don't think I wanted to dive all into this. There are monkey-like beings of this. It's a human. This is just getting crazy. A corpse-riding ghost-like being. This would be so bonkers. I really want to see a movie about this stuff now. Just dive in too, like don't censor any of the weird shit. I want all of it. And thank you to the patrons. Drewsasussybakachangemymind.
I'm Bout a Nut.
Drew's Argentinian Grandpa.
LuxembourgLover.
Papi Druwu.
Abolish Wyoming 2021.
Aaron F.
AryanAfterHours.
Alfonso M6.
Barnsky W.
BringBackPolandball.
Dalton D.
Elijah Senpai.
Send
Hawkz
Nic.
Hawkz. Mind Brothers 99X2.
Multiplayer sign.
Peter T.
Popcorn 2008.
Ryan N.
McBlorf.
Stormtrooper 501.
Patrick C.
Thank you.